Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Yep. Me. Hello. Welcome to the show. I'm engaging in false energy here because I didn't sleep a wink last night. Susan, are you there?
I'm here, but geez, I was going to say, now we got to have a nice, pleasant show because you scared the people last week, and this is how you're going to start.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do because I really am. I think I'm, you know, how when you're totally sleep deprived, I have no idea. So I've been sort of, you know, I sound like I slept, but oh my God.
Well, maybe you slept more than you thought. Maybe you're pulling what we always accuse our mother of.
Yeah, but I don't think so, Suze. I really don't. I literally, no. No. I read almost an entire book. I played, I cannot tell you how much Spider Solitaire.
Oh, you were just not in a sleep mode. That's it.
And then sometimes I just lay there, you know, and close my eyes and thought this must be good for something. I don't know. But anyway, here I am. And the only thing I have to do today is you get a mammogram.
Well, you can sleep through that.
That's right. You can sleep through that. Although I was just thinking, do you remember your first mammogram, how astonished you were to see your breast flattened into a pancake? I mean, did you remember?
I do remember, but no, I wasn't astonished.
Oh my God. I had no idea you could take a boob and literally make a pancake.
I know. No, astonished was the way I felt on my first mammogram after I weaned my first child from breastfeeding. And literally all that was left of my breast was two pieces of skin facing each other.
Stop it. All right. Okay. Don't.
And no, but what was funny is the technician taking my mammogram was like 5 months. Was 5 months pregnant. And when she slapped the egg up there and flattened it and it clanged.
Jeez, like there was nothing there.
Like there was nothing there. She just got this totally. I said, "It's okay. It's breastfeeding. It'll come back." And there was only part of that was a lie.
The guys, I'm sorry, guys, we'll stop.
Yeah, you don't want to hear about this, but you know.
But you have no idea what women. I mean,
I know. Excuse me. If you guys are going to control our bodies as to procreation, well, you can hear about all of it. I mean, you control this too. We're supposed to go and have inserts to reinflate our naturally.
What for their pleasure?
Yeah, because they aren't there for breastfeeding; they're there for men's pleasure. We all know that.
Oh yeah, right. Sacks of fat. That's what I'm telling you. Okay, so I got.
How are we doing so far?
I don't know. I am not, to be held responsible for this one. I just want to say, I'm not going to.
It's her show, so you can't hold me responsible. So there's that.
Oh, before we get into anything, and we do have to talk about Elon Musk, but I don't. There go my post toasties. Okay, so I had an experience yesterday that blew me away. I went to see a doctor, and
we have a theme apparently.
Oh, I guess that's true. This is my doctor week. Sometimes that happens where I sort of take care of business,
Okay.
physical
Well,
business.
what blew you away about the stories? There have been more disgusting stories about your body. So the fact that you're blown away by something, just, not spoiler alert or anything, but I find this vaguely terrifying. Go ahead.
It's not. My clothes were on through the entire thing. This is what's so wonderful about this. It was a doctor I'd never seen before. She's mostly an allergist kind of person. Anyway, so I'd never been to this office. I'd never seen her. And I was filled with trepidation. Also, this is after yesterday's show when I was ranting and raving. And I remember thinking they're going to do my vitals and my blood pressure is going to be
295 over 400.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was high. It was high. Just telling you, I die here on this show. I'm killing myself. But I get there, and I was taken into a room almost immediately, which almost never happens. And then I didn't sit in there by myself. Someone immediately came in, found out my blood pressure was sky high, and did the other kind of vitals and said the doctor will be in shortly. And I thought, yeah, sure. Damn if that doctor didn't come in like 2 minutes later and apologize for being late. I said, late? You're not late. You're 2 minutes past my appointment time. I mean, it was right there. That's unbelievable. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yes. Well, you started out by saying this was a woman doctor. Okay.
Yes, and well, that has something to do with it, I think. I've had plenty of offers.
Some of my worst doctors were women doctors. Said no, sorry.
That's not it. We both agree on that. This woman, however, oh my God. She literally spent an hour with me talking. We talked about my, conditions, my history, my this, but we every once in a while digressed into other stuff.
She must own her own practice, and she must have a working spouse.
Doesn't. I can't imagine. I kept waiting for some some supervisor to come barreling in. Now she did type into, the computer every once in a while, but eye contact and human and not from this on high doctor stuff and just talking and I was blown away. And it occurred to me that it was so different than anything I'd experienced in so long that when you bump into a doctor that treats you like a person, a unique person, it's mind-blowing. And she would say, well, you could take this test or that test. I know most people would say you should. She said, I don't think that's necessary. And I'm thinking in my head, her employer would not like that because they like tests. Tests get them money, right?
I suppose. In the long run, I think it blew up in their faces because it made me stop going to the doctor. And it made me actually start having fights with my doctor who, would insist on seeing me 4 times a year. And then this was several years ago, and then would complain when Obamacare was first coming out that there would be no time to see patients and they'd have to start rationing. And I looked at him and I said, well, you can ration with me. You can see me once a year and skip these other 3 visits, which do nothing except take money out of the insurance company's pocket and put it into yours. And I'll call you if I don't feel well in between. How's that?
That sounds like a good idea.
It's just like every time you go into any doctor, you get caught, and then it's 65 more tests and 45 more this, and your health becomes your whole life. And I just and once I left St. Louis, it took me the longest time. It took actual emergencies for me to start
To find doctors.
To find doctors, because I didn't want my whole life to be about that again. And
I know. Yeah, I like to stay away from them too. But you got to have a mammogram.
Yeah, I had one of those.
I've actually, it's been too long for me. So, and the other thing about a mammogram is, you go in just assuming you'll be fine. And, I interviewed a woman a few weeks ago who was actually an oncology nurse. She went in for
and she wasn't fine, right?
No. And, it never even occurs to me.
Well, we don't really have significant
That's
history.
Not in our family. Right.
And so, no, we don't worry about it. But I've had something where, and the way they treat women, and this is just so, man, just imagine this. If after they do your mammogram, they see something, you get sent to a different room. And it's a different room. And one of the ways it's a different room is it's filled with terrified women. They're all looking there trying to pretend like they aren't terrified. When I ended up in this room and I knew what it was, and there was a woman sitting next to me crying. She was so frightened.
Sure.
And I reached over, I took her hand and I said, it's probably nothing. It's just the inhuman way that they stockpile us and sit us with our fears and terrorize us. Just assume it's all going to be okay. And even if it's not,
again.
And even if it's not, they don't tell you anything. Even if it's not, breast cancer has more research money poured into it. You're going to be fine. Just know you're going to be fine, and don't let them do this to you. And, then they call her name. She goes in and she comes out, a little while later with just beaming because, it was a shadow on her mammogram. I go in, it's nothing. It's just, we'll just mark it. It's nothing. And it's like, this is the most horrific thing you can do. It's just, way to make women not want to go. You make it as unpleasant and as frightening and as unempathic as you can make it. That's what you do.
Right. That's right. That's
why it took you so long, beside the fact that you weren't worried about it. That's why it took you so long to go. Because even though you're not worried about it, they managed to make it into as scary a process as they can. And there's no reason for it.
Are you done?
Yeah, but there's no reason for it.
No, I know. It's actually, this was the book that this nurse wrote after she got breast cancer. That we sort of, I was thinking, we've been here, done that. We did that whole thing. Her whole book is about how they don't give a shit, and how they treat you like all through the process, like that. It's not necessarily the people. It's the process, the system just has not. Yeah, well, but we know that. Let's not even.
No, but the people need to speak up. The people need to speak up.
Well, yeah.
And say, let's stop treating our patients like this, because when your doctor stops treating you like this, we go back to where we started. You had the most amazing experience yesterday. You had a doctor that treated you with compassion, saw you as a human being, and gave you the time of day.
It was unbelievable. It was like I was, and I told her, I said, thank you, my gosh, blah, blah, blah. I was just blown away. I wanted to go home with her. I wanted to be her best friend.
Yeah, the doctors, my blood doctors are like that.
Well, it turns out she lives just a few blocks from me. I mean, we were talking so much that we just, I now know where she lives. I know where she jogs. She knows about my dog. But I thought, how can she do this unhurried?
Because, something, she'll give you better. She can treat you better because she knows you better.
That's right. That's what it's all about. Roger writes, at my wife's urging, I had a vasectomy years ago. For the procedure, everything was covered except my head. And the part, I thought you meant insurance. Okay, wait. Let me go back and start that one again. For the procedure, everything was covered except my head. and the part being worked on. What part was that? Okay, this is nothing compared to what women experience more frequently, but I still felt exposed. Yes, of course you did, in a silly way. After the 10-minute procedure, my wife was allowed into the room and started inspecting the doctor's work, where she exclaimed, "It's so small." I replied, "That's not a very nice thing to say." She said, I figured this too, Roger. I was talking about the incision. And he says, "Yeah, almost as bad as childbirth." Right. So there you go. Well, Roger, good for you. Very few men are willing to take control.
And the other thing is, like, you're absolutely right, Roger. Women have to go in and just be humiliated frequently.
Constantly. Oh, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, right. Oh, okay. So let's do something else.
Let's talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
No, I refuse.
Well, how does this? I don't want to talk about it either.
She's going to talk about it.
Why is it on the front page of newspapers? And why?
Because you want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. I just two people behaving badly. Who wants to talk about them?
They're celebrities behaving badly, and it's we can't get enough of that kind of stuff. Although for some reason I have had no interest whatsoever in any of it. My God.
No, I'm just my only interest is in who thinks that I want this as the top story of every day. Who gives a shit about these awful people?
It's better than children dying in Ukraine. You know, it's something that is.
Speaking of which, do you know that we can all apply to sponsor Ukrainians now?
Yes.
Something. Yes. And there's also another number if you're willing, not a sponsorship, but people that are already here that managed to get in before we close the border again in Mexico. There are places that there's a place that matches families willing to host with people already here.
Yeah.
And I know lots of people want to do that. So there are places to find out how to do it, and they need people to do it. So go ahead and do it.
I have to admit, part of me is thinking, good God. I mean, we have not felt this way about all the other poor souls.
About all the other people. I agree with you.
And I mean, and the poor souls trying to get into our...
Well, watching the Ukrainians walk by them in Mexico.
So I'm sorry. Whatever. Fine. That in this case, it's not that we should not treat the Ukrainians like this. It's that
we should treat everybody else this way too.
Exactly. We should ask ourselves, and what's the difference between them
we know what
and
the difference
other
is.
Desperate people? Well, okay, but whatever. Okay, I just want to say, greatest comment I saw today was by Jon Stewart, who the former Daily Show guy, who was awarded the Mark Twain Prize for American humor. And I guess, that's one of those, I think, Kennedy Center extravaganzas. And I think it'll be televised in a month or so. Anyway, he said, I guess in his acceptance speech, we talked about the importance of comedy. And he said, comedy doesn't change the world, but it is a bellwether. We're the banana peel in the coal mine. I love that. We're the banana peel in the coal mine. I love it. That's good. That's very, very good. Okay. Haven't wanted to do this, but we got to do this. Are you on Twitter? No, yes, no.
Very, very rarely. I mean, I am.
You have a Twitter?
I have a Twitter account. Now I'm going to happily, no.
Okay. Well, I do. And I haven't tweeted in some time, but every once in a while I get get on a jag or read something that I think other people should see, and so I'll post it. And I get a lot of when I couldn't sleep last night. I did spend some time, God help me, on Twitter, which is not conducive to getting without a doubt.
Either is your screen, by the way, but
no, nothing. I know, but so what am I going to do? There was no
read
way
a book if you have to read.
I read a book, and I'll share a little of that book with you in a minute to show you that wasn't a good idea. God,
read Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, right. And then the dog. Oh my God! I said to him this morning, "Will you teach me how to sleep?"
Yeah, just snoring.
Man,
that didn't help.
No, that wonderful little warm body and the rise and fall. I try to, be one with my dog, and but the problem is his brain is half empty and mine is over full, and it just doesn't. I don't know.
You see, my dog was up on his elbows on the side of my bed, looking at me at 3:00 in the morning, and whapped me when I didn't respond with his arm. And then when I opened my eyes, it tilted his head, ears, big, and looking at me like, "Hey, I heard it was spring. How about going out at 3:00 in the morning?"
Oh, Jesus.
I yelled at him. I just yelled at him, and he got off the bed and then jumped all the way on and went to bed, went to sleep next to me and snored, and so did I.
Well, from Ernie to Elon Musk, Trevor Noah said this. This is one of the things I found on Twitter. I honestly don't know why Elon would want to own Twitter. I mean, it just doesn't feel like a fun place to supervise. It's like buying Jurassic Park after the power went down and the cages are open.
Well, that's the joke that everybody's making. Why did he want to buy hell?
Yeah, I saw that too. Why would he want to buy hell? Well, here's the thing I can't stomach this is the world we live in now, that a few men, it's like the Gilded Age, I guess, in that a few white men literally get to
control the media. And can I point out, none of them are Jewish?
Control the media, control everything. Yeah, I was all of a sudden got worried that Elon Musk might be a Jew. So I actually Googled that at about 3 a.m. Yeah, Zuckerberg is. But Musk is not.
No, and Bezos is not, and Murdoch is not, and
No, that's true. So every time you think Jews are running the world, forget it.
Yeah, it ain't true, folks.
God. Anyway.
And the interesting thing is, you already know that. You know their names and everything, and you still say this.
Well, an Anti-Defamation League came out yesterday and said that anti-Semitism in the United States is way up. Well, this is what happens. Talking about banana peels in the coal mine. If scapegoats, if there's general looking around for scapegoats, might be the trans kids, in the moment, but the Jews are never far behind.
I know, we're always there.
Gays are never far behind. Black folks and immigrants and brown people are never far behind. So,
and that's why every time people would tell me that, the anti-Semitism wasn't an issue anymore, I said, you didn't grow up in the Midwest in a small town. It's never gone anywhere. It's never changed. It's just now, it was just clearly not polite to discuss it. And now it's polite to discuss it again. I don't think it's any different. I think it's just open for all to see.
Well, okay, away from that and back to, here's the most hopeful thing I saw about this. Some woman posting, Look here. I mean, nothing is going to change in the short term. The process here is going to take months. Musk may not take control of Twitter until the fall. And, he may never take control. Look at how much changed in the last weekend. Or
look at CNN Plus.
Yes, exactly. Look at CNN Plus. And then this guy, and this is where I go crazy about these despicably rich people. Some guy tweeted, "I work in homelessness, youth homelessness, and watching one man spend $44 billion is ... a mind fuck." So here's a guy who works with people who have nothing, not even shelter, no security in this great country of ours. And he sees this rich beyond belief man. And this is what he does. And that is the reaction of any person with an ounce of empathy or character. Somebody else saying, this is craziness, that he could have literally changed people's lives, paid for college for how many people, or cancer treatments, or a place to live, or position families not to have to struggle to feed their children. And instead, he wants to own Twitter.
Well, no, he's already, he can empathize. He's sold all of his own homes and sleeps on his friends' couches.
No, he's insane. And he's sick. And he's, you know what he is? Quite clearly, because I see his tweets and I see what he has. First of all, I think he's on the spectrum. That's just established. That goes without saying. He has no way to understand how he comes across, or he doesn't read other people. You can tell he doesn't get. And somebody pointed this out, that with all his success, and God, you have to give him that, with PayPal, right? PayPal, the product was money. Here's how we can transfer your money here to pay for that. And then with Tesla, it was a car. And with SpaceX, it's rockets. These are all things. The product on Twitter is people. Unruly people. And he's got no more idea how to handle that product. In fact, he's probably got less ability to handle that product. He strikes me as somebody who has the emotional maturity of about a 10-year-old.
Yeah. Maybe he'll flame out spectacularly and lose $44 billion. Wouldn't that be fun?
But it might not. It doesn't matter. He's got so much money, it doesn't matter. It can all implode. He'll just move on to the next thing. It doesn't matter. He just gets richer and richer and richer. Twitter has never been a money-making enterprise. But what it is the largest megaphone in the world. It is power. And who is this guy? Did anybody elect him to have this microphone? That this should be a privately held thing.
Well, that any of them should.
It is obscene. And
I'm going to remind you that back when these were when television and the airwaves were fledgling industries, the government understood that the public should have some say in what went over them. And that they should exist to serve a public interest, and in the public interest. That's all gone. We, in our infinite wisdom, elected people that decided that was nonsense. And the public didn't need to be protected from the likes of them or rich businessmen. Why should they be? And here we are.
Well,
we used to have rules against monopolies, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those were the days. So here, if you see what Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch did with Fox News, the odds are that's, I think, what you're going to see with Twitter. Musk is no liberal. Musk is no progressive. Musk, actually, somebody I thought put it really well. They said, really, I don't think has an ideology.
No, I don't think so either.
But he says, in his mind, it's sort of like an open environment, very much the way that, like a sophomore guy in high school that just read Ayn Rand for the first time, regurgitates stuff back to you and thinks they become really profound. That's sort of at the level that his ideology is. And I think that's true. I think that probably nails it. Absolutely nails it. But what a world that this one, I think of him as a child.
Well, yeah, the world is currently being run by a bunch of rich, spoiled, narcissistic brats. Almost completely.
Maybe.
Look at the Middle East.
Maybe it always was.
It's kleptocrats. That's who's running it. That's who's running the world.
And with the exception of the Chinese president, all white guys. Hey, here's some good news. Donald Trump has been found in contempt of court.
$10,000 a day adds up.
Yeah, but he
ain't going to pay it
right away. And no, he'll have to pay. He will have to pay, but not for long, because what we're finding out about our justice system is there's always a workaround, so that the contempt will be lifted. All his lawyers have to do is a better filing. They did some very according to the judge, this is a very boilerplate what they gave him, saying that they couldn't find the papers that the Attorney General of New York State wanted. And so he was offended by the fact that they thought that would be enough.
Right.
So
well,
all they have to do.
We looked in this file cabinet and we looked in that file cabinet.
They have to be more specific and actually say they couldn't find any of the papers, which is bullshit. But then that will probably allow him to slip out of the contempt charge. I don't know. Lynn and Susan, says Bob and Braddock. All I can say about Elon Musk buying Twitter reminds me to paraphrase what Chris Rock said about G.I. Jane to Jada Pinkett Smith before reality, literally and figuratively, slapped him in the face. I don't understand. Civil War II. Oh, Civil War II. Can't wait to see it.
Right.
What? Yeah.
Well, G.I. Jane 2 was the joke, and he's saying Civil War 2. That's where we are.
Oh, that's what Twitter will. But that's where we are.
Right.
Yeah. Here's something. Maybe you already saw this. You know how people do extreme sports?
Yes. I don't, but people do.
People do. And I think it's nuts. I actually know a guy whose son, in his early 30s, with some friends, went over to Iceland just a few weeks ago to do extreme skiing.
That's where you purposefully go, where the off the track and where the avalanches happen. What fun!
Let me tell you, one of his friends is now dead.
Mm-hmm.
He is hospitalized with a shattered leg and brain damage. So here's the latest extreme sport. Extreme sitting.
That's what we've been doing for 2 years. I extremely sat too long yesterday, and my back felt like I was back in law school. It was I had to get out of bed and I had to exercise my vertebrae apart, or I wasn't going to sleep.
Don't say that's not that. There's a guy who's trying to make it into a sport right now. It's just him, but it looks like he's finally found an opponent who's going to take him on. Now that'll make it interesting because if there's two of them, and the idea is you put yourself on a chair in an extreme environment, an uncomfortable environment, and sit there. Yeah, you can't have anything with you or to distract you, and it's who lasts the longest.
And you can't go to the bathroom or anything?
I guess not.
No water?
To me, I don't know. I don't know those kinds of rules, but I suspect, yeah. So it would it would be more a mind
yeah, that's like extreme meditation because you've got to go someplace in your head.
Although he says he does calisthenics before it because you'd have to deal with a lot of physical discomfort. And it says he managed 14 and a half hours in Joshua Tree National Park. He said he spent a lot of time thinking about whether a horse or a greyhound is a better racer. Anyway, he now is going off to Chile's Atacama Desert, and that's where he might have a competitor for the first time. So he thinks this should be able to rival other outdoor endurance.
I don't know. Calling all yogis, there's someone out there that can just sit there cross-legged and meditate for days.
Yeah, exactly right. And here's the other thing. This will never catch on simply because...
Who wants to do it?
No, it's not do it. Who wants to watch it?
Oh, well, that's true.
I mean, if it's not fun, if it's not something that, people can make money off of by drawing a crowd and having people watch, well, and so it's silly. Obviously, it was silly.
Yeah, and about the only sponsorship opportunity would be for a good chair, right?
Other things. Added, I don't know.
Added shorts?
Yeah. Yeah. Or Henry writes regarding Twitter. Henry. There is nearly $1.75 trillion in total U.S. student loan debt. About 46 million Americans have student loan debt. Imagine the dent that 44 billion could have made. He could have eliminated 25% of all student debt. Yeah, but he doesn't give a shit. See, this is what...
Yeah, you all think that he should use his money as a force for good. Well,
he doesn't give a
that's not on any one page of the Rich Guy's Handbook.
None.
Force for good is way back in the appendix, and it's under extra credit, not necessary. They'll think you're an ass.
Well, every once in a while, now, like the Gateses, Bill and Melinda, did take
they
did and create.
They did, and
so that's one exception.
Divorce-spurned spouses do really well.
Mm-hmm. So we've got Bezos's ex-wife doing really good with that money. So that
real good with that money.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, I saw this nasty tweet that Musk did about Bill Gates. He doesn't see anything of value in what Bill Gates is doing. Oh, he's just vile.
Well, Bill Gates did sort of sully his reputation.
Yes, yeah, oh, big deal. So he's a guy, huh? So
well, that's on page 5 of the handbook.
Okay, so. I mean, my God. So
here's the thing: Epstein's dead because boy, did he just by being seen with Epstein, way more of your life is out there for anybody to know. Because really, what other reason was there to be seen with Epstein?
Well, I don't know. He could connect you with he knew all the powerful people, so he was the kind of guy you'd want network with, even if you didn't get involved in the sleaze. I suspect there were a lot of people who never did that. That's my guess. It is.
I think that's highly optimistic of you.
Well, I don't know. So, wait, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
Well, you derailed me coming up with Epstein. Wait a minute.
We were on Elon Musk, and he tweeted something about Bill Gates. Really nasty.
Okay, Elon Musk. The other thing about Elon Musk is he is very tight with China, because China is apparently the market, the one that he has spent the most time cultivating for his Tesla. And if he controls Twitter, and China doesn't like Twitter, if he is beholden to China in any way, what would that mean for how Twitter would operate? And also, he, with SpaceX, does a lot of government contracts. So he has so much power in so many places that the powers that it makes him perhaps vulnerable in some ways. But this is one guy who is taking on too much, way too much. And I don't know how all of these interweave. He's also a sexist pig. He's constantly making remarks about women's bodies. His Tesla plants are known to be bastions of sexism and racism. Yeah. So, he's this is a bad guy who's going to control the public square and who is tight with the movers and shakers of the world, of which he is one. Henry gives us an Elon Musk quote. Given that Twitter serves as the de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. And so that means it's going to be a free-for-all.
Yeah.
And in free-for-alls, what we've already seen on Twitter is the loudest voices, the most extreme voices, prevail. Now, he's promised that he's going to get rid of the bots. If he does that, that will be good. But I don't know. I mean, maybe God help us. We have no control.
We have no control.
None.
We can wring our hands and wring our hands, but it's just one more major area of media controlled by one guy. We've been there for a very long time.
Hey, I know this is old, but isn't it a riot that you find out that, the Trump people like Mark Meadows, his chief of staff, who's railing about voter fraud.
And he's registered in 3 states.
Unbelievable.
Well, I'm sort of unimpressed by that. I mean, if you have lived in 3 different states or had residences for a year in 3 different states, you might be registered to vote in 3 different states, even though you have not exercised such right. Not most people, when they leave a state and move to another state, do not take the action of removing themselves from the rolls. That doesn't mean that they plan to vote.
Yeah, but this is I hear what you're saying. That's not what he did.
I know.
He gave a speech saying we cannot give up on election integrity. 3 weeks later, he registered to vote at a home in which he did not reside, in a trailer park.
That one I did. That one is questionable. I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, what do we got? I told you. God, this book. I've got nothing. I'm about ready to
implode.
Throw in the towel. I really am. I'm just. Oh wait, there's another thing. Have you heard? This was an article in the Washington Post that really, the headline was, I think, misleading, but let me find the headline. The headline is, "Stop the inhumane practice of renting pets." And I thought, what? You mean if you want a dog for the day, there are people who will rent you a dog? That there are like dogs for rent?
Well, it's like an escort.
No, it's that's disgusting. So it turns out that's not it. It's worse than that. Last week, the state of Massachusetts came to an almost $1 million settlement with a financial services firm that the Massachusetts AG said was leasing dogs in violation of state law in cases involving hundreds of people. And here's how that works. And this works. This is illegal in California, Connecticut, Indiana, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, and Washington, and all the other states, and Illinois. But most states do not have any laws about this process. And what it is, and this makes me just sick on every level, people who want a dog that costs some money, like a breed, that can cost a lot of money. They might not have the money.
Yeah.
So this is where they end up doing this pet lease.
Lease to own?
Lease to own. They end up paying 3 times as much as they would have paid if they could have paid outright. And
well, you can do that with a couch, and you can do that with a refrigerator.
But not with, so borrowers do not become owners until all the payments have been made. And a final balloon payment is typical. And if you fail to send in a monthly tab, the animal can be repossessed. These are not cheap. And it says here, people ultimately pay 2 to 3 times the original price of the pet over the course of the contract, which is, I guess, predatory, of course. But the bottom line moral issue is that the poor pet is with its human companion who actually has no real ownership or control of the animal. And I don't know. This makes me crazy on a lot of levels. On the level of the people who have to have that that doodle dog. That
whatever. Mostly they're these little things. The little boxers, and and it's just. And they're farmed. I mean, they're a lot of them come out of Missouri, and they are
just damaged goods that you pay a ton of money for. And here's the thing: you think these financial companies really want to?
They don't want them.
They don't want to repossess a dog, a 3-year-old dog. But the case in Massachusetts was because hundreds of people who'd gotten themselves into this craziness were threatened that their beloved dog would be taken from them unless they immediately came up with some cash. So it was deemed to be financial exploitation, emotional abuse, and I guess the agreement in Massachusetts meant that all these people got the dogs they had. But this is insane.
Oh, it's crazy. And when you figure that the dogs probably, if they paid cash, were costing it between $4,000 and $6,000 a piece anyway.
Disgusting.
It's just crazy. There are wonderful animals.
Oh, wonderful animals.
Just Blue is from a shelter. Ernie, not a great example. I love my Ernie, but he's complicated.
That's one word for it. But I mean, no, I've always had I even hate the term rescue. I've always had a rescue dog. When did that start being called?
I don't know. People ask me if I rescued him, and I said yes, to explain his behavior. I said, but the only traumatic thing that ever happened to him was I rescued him. He was 12 weeks old.
Well, rescue, again, it's like virtue signaling. It's like, yeah, I rescued this dog. You got him at a shelter. Okay, that's what we used to say. Yeah, I got him at the shelter. I didn't rescue him. And a lot of people will say, no, he rescued me because, yes, all this. But the whole rescue thing has that, self-righteous.
It is a virtue signal. I'm such a wonderful human being.
I am so much better than you are because, yes, I took in this hapless mutt. I am a saint. I rescued him.
Yes, and
next time, you know what? I should come up with a story. If somebody says, "Was he a rescue?" I should come up with yes. I saw him floundering in the Ohio River. I jumped in,
risking my life. In fact, somebody had to save both of us.
Yes. I swam out to the poor beast and I grabbed him. He fought me, but I got him and I rescued him. Come on, geez. We're also. So can I read you a little bit? So when I finally thought, you're not supposed to be on a screen when you're trying to.
Yeah. So what horrifying book did you decide to calm yourself with?
Well, the horrifying book is a little tiny book, and I'd read a very good review of it. It's all of 100 some pages, 70 pages. It's called The Swimmers, and it came highly recommended. And the whole first half is just about these people swimming back and forth.
You bought a book about Mother?
That is actually what did make me think of buying it, because
that's what Mother does. She swims endlessly,
back and forth and back and forth, and the thing is that this made me laugh, a lot of it, because it reminded me so much of Mother. But then something happened. The pool they were all swimming in closes. And then all of a sudden you're in an assisted living facility, or not even assisted living. You've been placed in it feels very personal. You have been placed in some awful home. And here's what I was reading last night. Welcome to Bella Vista. We are a long-term, for-profit memory residence, conveniently located on a former parking lot off the freeway, just minutes from the Valley Plaza Mall. Other names we have gone by include Heritage Point, Palomar Gardens, and the villages at Pacifica. And, this is the kind of, it's so right on in terms of that kind of, oh my God, this is so awful. Can I read you a little more?
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. Anytime you exclaim, "Oh, this is so awful," I can't wait to hear more.
Here at Bella Vista, we will do everything we can to meet your evolving needs as you begin this next and final phase of your
Don't
journey.
they mean devolving?
Yeah, probably. Once you have been processed by our enrollment team, welcome reception, gift basket, full body mole, and sword check, you will be assigned a room, a number, a bed, and if you did not bring your own, a new set of clothing, complete with easy iron-on identification tags. And then it goes, it is so dystopian, but it really is what so many people are living.
Mm-hmm.
As our newest admission to Bella Vista, there are a few things you should know. You will wake when we decide you will wake. You will sleep when we put you down and turn off the lights. Do not try to open the windows. They do not open, nor mindlessly punch random numbers into the coded lock by the elevator doors. It's uncrackable. And it is. Do you know that this is what these places are like?
Yes, my father-in-law lived in one for 6 years. And it dawns on you gradually, because in the nicer ones, they're made to look quite beautiful.
Yes.
It takes you a while to see beyond that. My father-in-law thought that he was on a cruise ship because all the hallways had railings to hold on to.
Oh, it's just like a frigging nightmare. So I'm reading this. This freaked me out. Is this true? Full disclosure, not everything at Bella Vista is as it seems. The alarm clock bolted to the table beside your bed is a motion-activated surveillance camera. Your red see-through Santa cup is a hydration tracker. The thermostat below the light switch is a microphone. The applesauce on your dinner plate is a medication delivery vehicle, and ditto for the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Your personal trainer, yeah, good God.
Not sure about the camera, but probably it's no different than what parents put in their infants' bed so they can sleep. They put a microphone and a camera trained on the bed.
You will be tended to exclusively by exhausted, middle-aged women of color from cash-starved countries who work 2 and 3 jobs to cover the rent. Their blood pressure is high, their backs are sore, they haven't seen a dentist in years. Remember to thank them when they come to you in the middle of the night to fix your blanket. Stay with me, you will say. Do not be offended if they don't have time to look up from their paperwork the next morning in the day room to greet you. Because if it's not charted, it didn't happen. Try to make their lives easier if you can. They are being paid the lowest possible wage to love you. Do you think that helped make sleep?
No, but I do think it's highly accurate.
Oh my God. The Swimmers. The author, Julie Otsuka, won the Penn Faulkner Award for a book called The Buddha in the Attic. So, I mean, she's clearly a really good writer, but this is so, oh my God.
But it's right. Yes, I spent a lot of time in a place like that because my mother-in-law insisted that somebody be with my father-in-law daily, and certainly for 2 out of 3 meals. And if she couldn't do it, one of us did. And there were a lot of wives, mostly of deceased residents, who came back to take to just help, to be with the other people. And I think it was because they wanted to be able to, they knew these people now. They wanted to be able to give them some love. But yeah, if you didn't bring it in, you know.
The other thing is how they make people go bankrupt.
The places are not cheap.
Do not worry. Do not worry. Your husband has already liquidated his retirement accounts,
right?
Signed over to us your future Social Security payments, and taken out a second mortgage on the house in order to finance your stay. They take every red cent of some. This is the most. Okay. Sorry. That's it. Well, look, I got through the hour by reading a book to you.
Thank you. As you actually even went over.
I did, just a minute. So there you have it. Well, guys, I got to fill out all this paperwork and then go sit in my car until they tell me I may enter the mammogram place. So
happy squishing.
Oh, God damn.
May you end up in the proper exit room.
Well, it's just so awful because, right up into your armpit, you're like, just, oh, God.
Oh, and then there's the part where they say, hold your breath. What happens if you breathe?
I can't imagine. I mean, what if a fire alarm went off? You are in, I remember when
they always tell me to hold
phrase,
my breath at the wrong point in my breath cycle.
Oh, geez, God in heaven. All right. And Sue, I got these big boobs as opposed to your little boobs. And I think big boobs are
absolutely
worse.
Little boobs are definitely preferable in mammogram world.
Oh, God. All right. Well, okay. See you tomorrow with my slightly bruised boobs. Okay?
Oi. Bye.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.